What's up, guys? I'm making a video today that I never wanted to make, never thought I would make, but here I am. Today's the day that I'm selling the Bullitt, and in this video I'm going to cover the reasons why, my final thoughts on the car, and what's next for my car journey here. But let's start it up and go for one last drive. So the big question is why, of course. Why am I selling the Bullitt after all of these years of saying that it's the only car for me, that I absolutely love it, and that there's no car I'd rather have? All those things are still true. The simple reason why I'm selling it is because I need the money, to be totally honest. When I bought the Bullitt back in July of 2018, the channel was in its prime. I was actually the peak of the channel. I got the most views ever in a month on July of 2018 when I bought the Bullitt. From that point forward, the channel has been in a slow decline ever since, and you know, some months it's dropped faster than others, but at the end of the day, the channel has just declined. And I do YouTube full-time. YouTube is my only, main source of income, and so when the channel doesn't do well, I need to cut back my expenses. And this car, honestly, the fact that it depreciated so little is also part of why I'm getting rid of it, because it's not like it's the monthly payment or anything like that that's an issue. It's just that it's worth still over $40,000 6 years later when I paid, $51,000 for it back in 2018. And it's also combined with the fact that, as I've talked about many times before on my updates for this car and in my live streams and stuff, I just don't have time to drive it most of the time. I review cars for a living, and I usually have 1 to 2 press vehicles that I have for a week at a time. I always have at least 1 or 2 of those that I need to drive. I need to put miles on to do a good review on those cars. And so the Bullitt just sits sometimes for months on end. And especially now being a dad and just having a very busy schedule with trying to do more and more YouTube videos to try to improve the channel, I just have no free time, no time for hobbies, no time for anything, because I'm desperately trying to get this channel to a better place, and everything hasn't been working. And so the final last straw, the last resort here was to sell the Bullitt, because having this giant chunk of equity just sitting in the garage, essentially being a pretty paperweight, is just something that I can't continue to justify. And so that's really why, if the channel was doing better, I wouldn't even be dreaming of selling this vehicle. It's just that the channel isn't doing well. And one thing that I've really thought about over the past couple of months, I've really done a lot of soul searching. This has been a very very tough decision, of course. But I've thought so much, like, should I just get a different job and give up on YouTube, and then I could keep the Bullitt and then just do something else. But I think I've come to realize that reviewing cars has always been my dream job ever since I was a kid, and doing this job is, to me, I love that more than I love this car. And unfortunately, I'm in the crappy situation where I have to choose between one or the other. It was either try and find something else to do and keep this, or keep doing YouTube as long as I can, and maybe it's still a sinking ship that's never going to get better, but try to hold out on YouTube, try and see if anything that I ever tried to do does something to improve this channel, and just hold on as long as I possibly can to this dream job. And maybe I have to give up the job as well someday, but to me it made more sense to give up the car first, and then reassess the whole job situation, depending on how YouTube and the viewership and all that treats me over the next year or so or whatever. But there's no guarantee I'm going to stay on YouTube either, because like I said, the channel just is still just declining. And yeah, I think that's the toughest thing about selling this car and this whole situation to me, is obviously selling a car you love is never easy. So I'm not going to minimize any other situations, but just for me, I am the channel in many ways, and obviously my identity is wrapped up in other things as well. I'm a dad, I'm a husband, all those other things, but this is my full-time job, and this is who I am as a car reviewer. And, you know, it's not like another job where, you know, you have crappy management that lays you off, and, you know, you have, you know, a bad hand dealt to you, and that is why, you know, sometimes people have to downsize, get rid of stuff, whatever. I mean, that is still a very hard thing to do, but for me, it's selling this car is a direct result of my own failures, and that's heavy, and that really drives the salt into the wound there, and you know, it just makes it extra hard. Again, this is a first world problem, boo-hoo. I can't, you know, afford my, you know, dream car anymore. You know, again, I'm not looking for any sympathy here, but just kind of trying to explain why, since, you know, again, I don't want people to think I'm full of crap. I'm not like every other YouTuber that just flips a car every year, rides the hype of whatever new thing is out there and flips it. And that's honestly part of why, you know, I should have done that. You know, this car should have been a temporary car, just a tool for the channel that I had no emotional attachment with. But from the very beginning, I bought this car for me. I bought this car because I loved it, and I kept it because I wanted it, and it's been always my ultimate car. And so, you know, that's just unfortunately just not a good recipe for success on YouTube, especially car YouTube. You gotta always be hopping into the newest, hottest thing, doing a build series, building it up to 1,000 horsepower, and, you know, putting 1 million mods on it, and then flipping it into the next hot new thing. That is the formula that is, you know, been super hot, and, you know, it's something that's it's just the way it works, you know, these days, and has worked for a long time. But I refuse to participate in that. I wanted to actually buy a car I loved and keep it, which I know is very, you know, boring from a channel and content standpoint, but, you know, it's just, you know, also part of, you know, this car quit paying for itself a long time ago, and that's okay. But unfortunately, you know, it's just that, again, the other videos just haven't, you know, done enough to, you know, keep me in a position where I can afford this. But moving on from, you know, the reasons why I'm getting rid of it, just a final wrap up on the car. You know, again, I don't drive it a lot. I've put maybe 2,000 miles on it since my last update last year. So I will include the playlist if you want to hear all my updates of, you know, what went on with this car during my nearly 6 years of ownership. But, you know, the bottom line, I think, for me is that it still is the perfect car for me. But as far as, you know, how it held up, if you're considering a Bullitt on the used market, things like that, you know, it's held up really well. It's still been super reliable. It's never let me down. You know, the only flaw from the factory really was the fact that they didn't coat the exhaust tips properly, so, you know, that one exhaust tip faded there. But otherwise, I mean, it's been great. It's you know, like I said, it's held its value so well. I couldn't be happier with the ownership, and, you know, everything else on the car has been great. Like, I did the Expel wrap from Blackout Tinting, courtesy of them and Expel, back whenever I got this car. That's a 6-year-old wrap now. It's still, again, only 21,000 miles, and again, the car is mostly garage, so it's lived a very easy life as far as an exterior appearance standpoint goes. But, you know, I did a lot of highway miles, and, you know, the Expel wrap really did a great job holding up well. It hasn't, you know, faded or yellowed or peeled or anything like that. It still looks great. They warranty it for 10 years, so the next owner's got another, you know, 4 years or more on this wrap as well. The other thing I want to mention, you know, back in the fall, I put some Continental DWS tires on it, the all-season performance tires, and, you know, I never did any update video on that because I never really had a good chance to drive it in snow to really test it out in the snow. But there was a very light dusting one day that I had to drive in, and it handled it flawlessly. These tires are great. It's a great upgrade that I honestly kind of wish I did sooner, because it would have allowed me to drive this car more often than being restricted by the summer tires here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where I live, where it regularly, you know, gets cold in the winter time, and you're not able to drive on summer tires, you know, much of the time. And so, you know, I really love these tires. I highly recommend them, and big thanks once again to Continental for hooking me up with these, you know, back then. But yeah, so they've held up really well, and I'm very impressed with those. Highly recommend that. Yeah, otherwise, it's just been a dream to own this car, and yeah, it's gonna be tough to say goodbye. It's been a really fun ride with this car. I did some incredible things with it, especially in those first 2 years when I had time to drive, and you know, was able to do a lot of adventures in it. That's crazy. And it's also just crazy, I'm sorry if I'm rambling here, but it was also crazy just that, you know, I've been doing videos in an S550 Mustang for nearly 10 years now. The fall of 2014 is when I got the EcoBoost, and this is the end of my Mustang chapter as well. And that's also just a huge thing, is I'm not going to be having another Mustang after this. And so, that's one of the other questions is, what's next for me as far as car ownership? And the answer there is, again, since I'm doing this for money and I always have press cars, I don't need a car. So for the first time since I've got my driver's license, I won't have a car. Now, my wife has her Mach-E, and that's the family vehicle, and that's always going to be available for me to use. So I have that, but then I also have the press cars. It's going to be very rare, if there's ever an instance where I don't have a car to drive. So I don't need a car. And so saving that, payment, saving the insurance money, and allowing that equity to work towards other things instead of, having that, again, just waste away here in a car. And for those that are curious, the car is going to be in great hands. I'm very fortunate to have a fan that's going to be buying the car off of me, who's been following this car's journey ever since the beginning, who understands how special this car is to me and how special it is just in general, the places this car has been, the things this car has done. It was really important to me that it went to a good next owner who, I didn't just trade it in, or I didn't just sell it on an auction site to the highest bidder. Like, to me, it really makes me feel good to know that it's going to a good owner who's going to love it, care for it, treat it well, and enjoy it to the max. And that was really, really important to me. So I was very fortunate to have a very kind fan give me a very generous offer on the vehicle, a good offer that I was totally happy with. And I'm very grateful about how this has all worked out. It's been a nice, easy process, stress-free, and I'm really appreciative to him for that. And I'm hoping to maybe, in the future, do some updates on the car potentially, if he's up for that, or just maybe have a picture posted from time to time, just of how it's doing, and I think hopefully I'll be able to stay in touch with the owner and follow along with this car's journey and live vicariously through him for the next chapter of this car's life. But for one last time, can't believe I'm saying this, one last time, let's do a red line run, shall we? Sounds so good. I'm gonna miss you. It's been such a good car. I've been really emotional selling the BRZ back in the day and stuff, but this car was really special. I'm gonna miss this one a lot. I know it's probably stupid to cry about a car, but this one I'm gonna miss. Anyway. Thank you all very much for watching. Thank you for your support of the channel all these years. It has enabled me to have this car at all. It could have always remained a dream car, but thanks to your viewership back then, it was able to become a reality. And for that, I'll be forever grateful. Even if I selfishly can't keep this car and keep it for myself forever. I'm grateful for the experience. So anyway, signing off for now. Goodbye, Bullitt, and I hope you have many fun miles in your next adventure. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching. I'm pretty sure that it just accidentally leaked a 2018 Bullitt Mustang. Someone has shared a spy photo here of a 2018 Bullitt Mustang, and as you can expect, I'm very, very excited because I'm chomping at the bit for this thing. Ford, just shut up and take my money. Like, I'm so pumped. I'm very excited to announce that I've officially ordered the 2019 Mustang Bullitt. The 2019 Mustang Bullitt has arrived at the dealership. It's like I'm in a dream. It's crazy. Alright guys, so it's ready to go and I am driving the Bullitt for the first time. That is so sweet. It sounds so good. Oh, I love the sound. Oh man. Let's turn down onto this back road. First red line run in the 2019 Mustang Bullitt. And here we go. Oh man, it rips in those upper RPMs. We're starting the day off with a police escort. The cars will be on display in front of the Indy 500 Museum, actually, and so that's going to be a huge honor as well. All right, so yeah, we are like going through red lights here. It's pretty crazy. As a car guy, having a police escort is about as good as it gets, and hands down one of the coolest things I've ever done. All right, so we have made it here to Woodward. We're cruising on Woodward Avenue currently. Alright, so we are parked up here on Mustang Alley. So, we just passed 10,000 miles here on the Bullitt on Woodward Avenue. And how was that? I was just about to be done filming, and then you see the Batmobile, the original Batmobile, just cruising. Truly an amazing event.